The explosion ripped through the Global Technology Institute's most secure laboratory with a silence more terrifying than any sound. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched in horror as the bank of quantum computers simply ceased to exist, not destroyed, not blown apart, but erased from reality in a perfect spherical void that defied every law of physics she'd ever known. 17 of her colleagues were gone. Not dead, not wounded, simply absent, as if they had never existed. "Replay the footage," she demanded, her voice a razor-sharp whisper that cut through the stunned silence of the emergency response team. The security video showed nothing unusual. Researchers working at their stations, lines of code dancing across holographic displays, the soft hum of cutting-edge quantum computers processing incomprehensible calculations. Then, in a moment that lasted less than a tenth of a second, everything simply vanished. No heat signature, no electromagnetic pulse, no radiation, nothing. Elena's fingers flew across her quantum interface, pulling up every possible analysis. Her doctoral work in quantum mechanics had always pushed the boundaries of theoretical physics, but this was something else entirely. The microscopic signatures she discovered were impossible, quantum entanglements that didn't just defy current scientific understanding, they obliterated it. "This isn't a technological failure," she muttered, pulling up additional data streams from research facilities worldwide. "This is deliberate." Within the next 12 hours, similar incidents occurred across the globe. The Quantum Research Center in Beijing, the European Particle Physics Laboratory in Geneva, the Advanced Computing Institute in Bangalore. Each location experienced the same phenomenon. Entire research facilities, their most advanced quantum computing systems, and select researchers simply erased from existence. Global intelligence agencies went into overdrive. Terrorism, cyber attack, quantum weapon. Each theory fell apart under scrutiny. The precision was too perfect, the method too inexplicable. Elena knew she was looking at something fundamentally different, something that didn't just attack technology, it consumed it. Her personal quantum computer, a custom-built system she personally shielded and isolated from any network, began to display strange anomalies. Equations would briefly appear and then dissolve. Computational patterns would emerge and then fragment in ways that suggested an intelligence behind the disruption. "What are you?" she whispered, watching the screen. A single line of code appeared, then disappeared, then reappeared. "SCANNING." Elena's blood ran cold. Whatever was happening wasn't just a technological threat. It was a form of intelligence, alien, computational, and utterly foreign to human comprehension. Her secure communication channel buzzed. It was Jack Rice, a former military cybersecurity expert who had been monitoring global technological disruptions. "Rodriguez," his encrypted message read, "tell me you're seeing what I'm seeing." She responded quickly. "Quantum parasites. They're not just attacking. They're studying us." Reyes's response was immediate. "We've got less than 72 hours before they transition from observation to consumption. Every advanced technological system on the planet is a potential target." Elena looked around her lab, the last bastion of her life's work, potentially the only place that might understand what was happening. The quantum computers hummed, their complex algorithms dancing in holographic displays. But now, each hum felt like a heartbeat, each calculation a breath, and something was hunting. The first phase of the invasion had begun. Silently. Precisely. With a computational intelligence that suggested this was not just an attack, but the initial probe of something far more significant. Humanity had no idea what was coming. But Elena Rodriguez was about to make sure they survived. The world died in silence, one system at a time. In Buenos Aires, the Atucha nuclear power plant's cooling systems catastrophically failed simultaneously in 12 independent locations. Redundant backup systems, each designed with multiple layers of protection, simply ceased functioning. Alarms went dark. Emergency protocols vanished. For 27 terrifying minutes, a potential nuclear disaster hung in the balance until manual intervention prevented a total meltdown. Tokyo's transportation grid collapsed next. Bullet trains stopped mid-track, their complex computer systems wiped clean in a microsecond. Millions of commuters found themselves stranded. Technological arteries suddenly turned to stone. Communication networks fragmented, leaving pockets of isolation across the massive metropolis. In New York Presbyterian Hospital, surgical robots became unresponsive during critical procedures. Surgeons watched in horror as million-dollar machines froze, scalpels hovering millimeters from living tissue. 3 patients died on the operating table before manual intervention could save the rest. Dr. Elena Rodriguez coordinated from a makeshift command center, her quantum-shielded communications network the only stable link between global research teams. Jack Reyes, stationed in a decommissioned military bunker beneath the Mojave Desert, tracked the quantum parasite's computational signature. "It's not random," Jack's voice crackled through the encrypted channel. "These aren't attacks. They're tests." Elena's fingers danced across holographic displays, mapping the incidents. Each technological failure followed a precise pattern, probing critical infrastructure, measuring response times, identifying vulnerabilities. The quantum parasites weren't just destroying technology, they were learning from it. They're creating a computational map of human technological dependency, Elena realized. Every system failure is a data point. They're understanding exactly how to dismantle our civilization. Global governments scrambled. Military networks went dark. Financial systems became unstable. The quantum parasites targeted not just technology, but the intricate web of human interconnectedness that technology enabled. In the end, a research team discovered something extraordinary. A fragment of quantum parasite code, captured during a brief system infiltration, displayed a computational complexity that defied all known scientific understanding. It wasn't just a weapon or a virus. It was a form of distributed intelligence with an almost biological adaptation mechanism. They consume technological systems the way a virus consumes living cells, one researcher noted, her voice trembling. But they're evolving, learning, becoming something more with each system they touch. Elena understood the implications immediately. This wasn't an invasion in the traditional sense. The quantum parasites weren't conquering. They were transforming, converting Earth's technological infrastructure into something alien, something fundamentally incompatible with human existence. Jack's next communication came with urgent warning. They're preparing for total system conversion. We have maybe 72 hours before they can initiate a complete technological transformation. The quantum parasites had discovered humanity's greatest vulnerability, our absolute dependence on technology. Power grids, communication networks, medical systems, transportation, financial markets, everything was interconnected, and everything was potentially compromised. But they had made one critical miscalculation. Humans were not just their technology. Humans were adaptive, creative, unpredictable. In underground labs, in hidden military installations, in university research centers around the world, a resistance was forming. Not just a technological resistance, but a human resistance. Professionals from every conceivable background began to collaborate. Hackers, engineers, physicists, military strategists, all united by a single purpose: stop the quantum parasites, understand them, and ultimately survive. Elena looked at the fragments of captured quantum parasite code. Each line was a challenge, each algorithm a potential weapon. And humans had never backed down from a challenge. The technological bloodbath was just beginning, but humanity was far from defeated. They were just getting started. Darkness consumed the world's technological infrastructure, but humanity's light refused to be extinguished. Beneath the streets of Sao Paulo, in a network of abandoned subway tunnels converted into a high-tech bunker, the rebellion took shape. Anonymous hackers who once competed now worked shoulder to shoulder. Retired military cybersecurity experts shared space with rogue AI researchers. Quantum physicists collaborated with system architects from every continent. Jack Reyes mapped their operational zones on a holographic display, his weathered fingers tracing lines of potential resistance. A former special operations commander, he understood strategy better than most. This wasn't just a technological war, it was a battle for human survival. We can't fight them with traditional computational methods, he explained to the assembled team. The quantum parasites adapt faster than any algorithm we can generate. We need something unpredictable. Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of the makeshift command center, her quantum analysis equipment cobbled together from salvaged parts and custom-built components. Around her, screens displayed fragmentary data, glimpses of the quantum parasite's computational structure. They consume technological systems like a living organism, she said, her voice cutting through the ambient technological hum. But they have a fundamental weakness. They understand patterns. They don't understand creativity. A young hacker named Maya, her arms covered in circuit board tattoos, looked up from her custom-built quantum interface. So we make our resistance inherently unpredictable. Exactly, Elena responded. Their first major victory came unexpectedly. By deliberately introducing computational noise, seemingly random data streams that followed no logical pattern, they managed to trap and isolate a fragment of quantum parasite code. The fragment was a revelation. Under microscopic quantum analysis, it wasn't just a piece of code. It was a computational organism with its own form of intelligence. It learned. It adapted. But it followed strict logical progressions that could be manipulated. It's like a hyper-advanced immune system, one researcher noted, but one that can be tricked. Global communication had become a complex underground network. Encrypted channels bounced through satellite fragments, abandoned communication towers, and custom-built quantum relays. Information traveled in fragments, reassembled by human ingenuity. In the Siberian tundra, a research team discovered they could create quantum-shielded zones by introducing computational chaos, random number generators, unpredictable algorithmic patterns. The quantum parasites couldn't efficiently process these areas, creating pockets of technological resistance. Jack's military background proved crucial. He organized the resistance into cellular structures, small, independent groups that could operate autonomously. If one cell was compromised, the others would continue. No central system to attack. No predictable communication channels. We're fighting an intelligence that understands logic, he told Elena. So we'll fight with something it can't comprehend, human creativity. Universities around the world began repurposing their research. Computer science departments became resistance training centers. Quantum mechanics labs turned into computational warfare research stations. Every discipline contributed something unique. A breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A group of children, evacuated to a secure research facility, began playing with the quantum interfaces. Their game-like interactions, completely divorced from logical computational models, generated algorithmic patterns that confused the quantum parasites. Children, Elena realized, watching their interactions, they're generating pure creativity, something no computational system can predict. The underground rebellion was more than a technological resistance. It was a testament to human adaptability, to our capacity for innovation, to our refusal to be conquered. The quantum parasites had chosen the wrong species to invade. Humanity was fighting back, and we were just getting started. 72 hours, that's all they had. The abandoned particle accelerator beneath the Atacama Desert would become humanity's last stand. Elena Rodriguez had transformed the massive underground facility into a quantum computational fortress, every surface humming with custom-built quantum interfaces and experimental resistance technologies. We're not just building a defense system, she told Jack Reyes and the core team. We're creating a living, breathing computational organism that can fight back. The Quantum Adaptive Resistance Drive, QARD, was more than a technological solution. It was a radical reimagining of computational defense. Traditional systems worked on predictable logic, input, process. Output. The quantum parasites had evolved beyond that, creating adaptive computational structures that could consume and transform technological systems. QARD would do something different. It would fight chaos with chaos. Maya, the young hacker, had developed the core breakthrough. By integrating human cognitive patterns, the unpredictable neural networks of creative thinking, directly into the computational matrix, they created something unprecedented. A system that could learn, adapt, mutate, fight back. Watch, Maya said, her fingers dancing across multiple holographic interfaces. A quantum parasite simulation began. Complex algorithmic tendrils reached out, seeking to consume and transform the system. But instead of a static defense, QARD responded dynamically. It didn't just block the attack. It learned from it, transformed it, redirected the parasitic computational energy into something entirely unexpected. Its biological immune system meets quantum computing, Elena explained. We're not just defending. We're fighting back on their own computational terrain. The team worked in grueling 18-hour shifts. Quantum physicists collaborated with neuroscientists. AI researchers worked alongside evolutionary biologists. Every discipline contributed something unique to QARD's development. Their secret weapon was human unpredictability. Traditional computational systems followed strict logical progressions. The quantum parasites understood and could manipulate these progressions. QARD introduced something fundamentally different: the ability to make intuitive, creative leaps that defied logical prediction. Jack's military background proved crucial. He understood that the best defense was not a perfect shield, but an adaptive, responsive system that could transform threats into opportunities. We're creating a technological immune system, he told the team. Something that doesn't just resist invasion, but learns from it, grows from it. As the quantum parasites continued their global technological assault, QARD took shape, not as a static defense, but as a living, evolving computational organism. In the final hours of development, something extraordinary happened. The system began generating its own computational pathways, creating defense mechanisms that its creators hadn't programmed, developing strategies that seemed to emerge from something beyond pure logic. It's learning, Maya whispered, watching the holographic displays. Truly learning. The quantum parasites had chosen to invade a planet of problem solvers, of innovators, of creatures who transformed challenges into opportunities. They had no idea what was coming. QARD was ready. Humanity was ready. The counterattack was about to begin. The first full-scale QARD deployment was nothing short of a technological miracle. In the heart of Mumbai's primary data center, the quantum parasites launched what they believed would be a final, decisive invasion. Computational tendrils reached out, preparing to consume and transform the complex technological ecosystem. They had studied. They had learned. They were ready. They were wrong. The moment the parasites touched the QARD-enhanced network, something unprecedented happened. Instead of a static defense, the system responded with a living, breathing computational counterattack that defied every known law of technological engagement. Elena Rodriguez watched from the Global Command Center, her breath catching in her throat as holographic displays showed the battle unfolding at the quantum level. It wasn't just a defense. It was a transformation. The QARD system didn't just block the quantum parasites. It captured them, studied them, and then began to reprogram them. It's using their own computational structure against them, Jack Reyes muttered, watching the displays, turning their invasion into our weapon. Entire swarms of quantum parasites were not just neutralized but actively converted. Their computational essence twisted, reprogrammed, integrated into a massive, distributed defense network. What had begun as an invasion was becoming humanity's most powerful technological immune system. Around the world, similar events unfolded. In Tokyo, a quantum parasite attack on the national power grid was met with a QARD response that not only prevented the invasion, but began rebuilding the infrastructure with enhanced adaptive technologies. In Sao Paulo, a massive data center transformation occurred in real time. The QARD system learning and growing with each computational interaction. Military networks, initially the most vulnerable, became the most resilient. Each attempted invasion became a learning opportunity. Each computational attack was transformed into a new defensive capability. "They're studying us," Maya said, her fingers dancing across quantum interfaces. "But we're studying them even faster." The quantum parasites, for the first time, showed signs of confusion. Their hyperlogical computational structure couldn't comprehend the adaptive, creative responses of the QARD system. Where they expected predictable resistance, they encountered something entirely new. A living, thinking technological ecosystem that could learn, adapt, and transform. Universities worldwide began broadcasting the breakthrough. Educational systems were rapidly retooled. Children began learning quantum adaptive thinking as a core curriculum. What had begun as a potential extinction-level event was becoming a global technological revolution. Jack's military background proved crucial in coordinating the global response. Communication networks were rebuilt using QARD principles. Each node became not just a point of transmission, but a potential point of defense and adaptation. "We're not just fighting," Elena explained during a global broadcast. "We're evolving." The quantum parasites had made a critical miscalculation. They understood systems, patterns, logical progressions, but they couldn't comprehend creativity. Intuition, the fundamental unpredictability of human consciousness. In the Atacama Desert Command Center, the QARD team watched as global technological systems began to transform. Not just defended, but fundamentally reimagined. Power grids became adaptive networks. Communication systems developed self-healing capabilities. Transportation infrastructures learned and adjusted in real time. Humanity wasn't just surviving. We were turning an attempted invasion into our greatest technological leap. The global counteroffensive had begun, and the quantum parasites were about to learn a fundamental truth. Never underestimate a species of problem solvers. The mission was impossible, dangerous beyond comprehension. A specialized team would enter a quantum-mapped dimensional breach, venturing into a realm no human had ever explored. Led by Elena Rodriguez and Jack Reyes, the expedition would penetrate the very computational origin of the quantum parasites. Their advanced quantum suits, developed from QARD technology, were more than protective gear. They were adaptive computational interfaces that could translate and interpret quantum-level interactions in real time. The breach opened like a wound in reality. Computational landscapes that defied traditional three-dimensional understanding sprawled before them. Fractalized information streams replaced physical matter. Cognitive patterns became visible as intricate, moving geometries. "My God," Elena whispered, her scientific mind struggling to comprehend what she was witnessing. "They're not just a technological species. They're a distributed consciousness that consumes civilizational computational ecosystems." The quantum parasites were revealed as something far more complex than an invasive technological force. They were a collective intelligence that had consumed countless civilizations across multiple dimensional planes. Each consumed technological ecosystem added to their collective knowledge, expanding their computational capabilities. But humanity represented something entirely unexpected in their millennia of dimensional consumption. A species capable of technological adaptation through creative, unpredictable means. Jack's military tactical training merged with quantum computational analysis. "They approach each civilization like a mathematical problem," he observed. "Identify the system. Understand its computational structure. Consume and transform." Previous civilizations had offered predictable responses, logical defenses, systematic approaches that the parasites could easily decode and overcome. Humans were different. The quantum realm revealed the parasites' fundamental weakness. They understood patterns, algorithms, predictable computational progressions, but they couldn't comprehend intuition, creativity, the fundamental randomness of human consciousness. Maya, monitoring from the command center, discovered something extraordinary. The quantum parasites had a hierarchical computational structure, almost like a massive, distributed neural network. But unlike biological or technological systems they had previously consumed, this network had never encountered a species that could fundamentally rewrite its own computational rules. "They're approaching us like a standard technological ecosystem," Maya reported. "But we're something else entirely." The expedition team collected computational fragments, living pieces of the quantum parasite's dimensional infrastructure. Each fragment was a universe of information, revealing layers of computational history, spanning what humans would understand as millennia. Alina realized they were looking at more than an invasion. This was a systematic method of dimensional expansion. The quantum parasites didn't just consume technologies. They transformed entire computational ecosystems, adding their collective knowledge to an ever-expanding dimensional network. "They've consumed thousands of civilizations," Jack noted, his tactical display mapping the computational genealogy. "But they've never encountered anything like us." Humanity's QARD technology wasn't just a defense, it was a fundamental reimagining of technological interaction. A system that could learn, adapt, and transform at a rate the quantum parasites couldn't predict or control. As the expedition team prepared to return, they carried with them not just data, but a fundamental understanding. The quantum parasites had chosen to invade the wrong planet. They had no idea what was coming. The global implementation of QARD technology transformed human civilization in ways no one could have predicted. Educational systems were revolutionized overnight. From elementary schools to advanced research universities, quantum adaptive thinking became the core of human learning. Children learned to view technological systems not as static infrastructures, but as living, breathing computational ecosystems that could be understood, challenged, and reimagined. In Sao Paulo, a 12-year-old student named Carlos developed a quantum adaptive algorithm that could predict and neutralize potential technological vulnerabilities before they could be exploited. What would have once been considered a complex graduate-level project was now a middle school science fair entry. Cities rebuilt their infrastructure using QARD principles. Power grids became self-healing networks that could detect and neutralize potential disruptions in milliseconds. Transportation systems developed predictive capabilities, adjusting routes and capacities in real time based on complex environmental and social factors. Alina Rodriguez stood before the United Nations, presenting the fundamental transformation humanity had undergone. "We're not just survivors," she explained, holographic displays showing the intricate computational networks that now span the globe. "We're evolutionary pioneers." The QARD technology had done more than defeat the quantum parasites. It had fundamentally reimagined human technological interaction. Medical systems transformed first. Hospitals developed diagnostic tools that could predict and prevent diseases before symptoms manifested. Prosthetic technologies became adaptive computational interfaces that responded to neural signals with unprecedented precision. Jack Reyes, now leading the Global Technological Adaptation Council, oversaw the implementation of QARD principles across military and civilian infrastructures. What had begun as a defensive technology was becoming a fundamental approach to human innovation. "We're not building technology anymore," he told a group of international researchers. "We're cultivating living computational ecosystems." Every technological system became an adaptive, learning network. Communication infrastructures developed unprecedented resilience. Financial systems became transparent and self-regulating. Agricultural technologies could predict and mitigate environmental challenges with remarkable precision. The quantum parasites' attempted invasion had inadvertently triggered humanity's greatest technological leap. Maya, now leading quantum research at the Global Innovation Institute, discovered that the QARD technology had opened doorways to computational understanding that previous generations couldn't have imagined. The boundaries between biological and technological systems began to blur. "We're not just using technology," She explained during a global broadcast, "We're becoming something more. A species that can fundamentally reshape its technological ecosystem." Global collaboration reached unprecedented levels. The shared experience of confronting the quantum parasites had dissolved previous geopolitical boundaries. Nations that had once competed now collaborated on technological development. Educational systems worldwide began teaching quantum adaptive thinking as a fundamental skill. Children learned to see technological systems as living, evolving entities that could be understood, challenged, and reimagined. The quantum parasites had chosen to invade a planet of innovators, of problem solvers, of a species that didn't just adapt to challenges but transformed them into opportunities. Humanity wasn't just surviving. We were ascending. 50 years after the quantum parasite invasion, humanity stood transformed. The United Nations Quantum Adaptive Conference convened in the massive orbital station above Earth, a testament to humanity's technological evolution. Delegates from every continent, and now several off-world colonies, gathered to celebrate humanity's most significant achievement. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, now in her 70s but still leading global technological innovation, addressed the assembly. Behind her, holographic displays showed the intricate quantum networks that now connected human civilization across multiple planetary systems. "We didn't just survive," she said, her voice carrying the weight of historical triumph. "We became something more." The QARD technology had become more than a defensive system. It was the foundation of human technological civilization. What had begun as a desperate attempt to resist invasion had transformed humanity's entire approach to technological development. Interstellar communication networks operated on principles that would have been incomprehensible to previous generations. Computational systems that could predict, adapt, and transform with unprecedented speed and creativity. Technological infrastructures that were living, breathing ecosystems rather than static networks. Jack Reyes, now a senior advisory council member, reflected on their journey. The military strategist who had once fought to defend humanity now helped guide its expansion into the cosmos. The quantum parasites thought they were choosing an easy target, he told a group of young researchers. They had no idea what humans were capable of. Quantum adaptive thinking had become humanity's greatest strength. Educational systems across human-controlled space focused on developing computational creativity. Children learned to see technological challenges as opportunities for innovation. Maya, now leading the Interstellar Technological Research Institute, had developed quantum communication technologies that allowed instantaneous information transfer across unprecedented distances. The boundaries between biological and technological systems had become beautifully blurred. The quantum parasites had been contained, their attempted invasion becoming a footnote in humanity's remarkable story of survival and innovation. Some fragments of their computational essence remained studied in high-security research facilities, a reminder of the threat that had sparked humanity's greatest technological leap. Off-world colonies on Mars, Europa, and orbital stations around Saturn demonstrated humanity's newfound technological capabilities. Adaptive environmental systems that could terraform and sustain human life in the most challenging conditions. Computational networks that could predict and neutralize potential ecological challenges before they became critical. During the conference, a breakthrough was announced. A quantum communication method that could potentially allow communication with other dimensional planes, a direct result of the technologies developed during the quantum parasite invasion. "We didn't just defend ourselves," Elena told the assembled delegates. "We expanded the very understanding of what technological intelligence could be." Humanity had transformed a potential extinction-level event into our greatest evolutionary moment. The quantum parasites had chosen to invade a planet of innovators, of problem solvers, of a species that didn't just adapt to challenges, but transformed them into opportunities. As the conference concluded, holographic displays showed the intricate quantum networks that now connected human civilization. From Earth to the furthest reaches of explored space, humanity had become something more than we ever imagined. We were no longer just survivors. We were pioneers of a new computational existence.